We're counting down the 12 wet cat food brands British owners should avoid at all costs in 2026, ranking them from misleading healthy labels to shockingly widespread supermarket staples, and exposing the hidden fillers, sugars, and meat industry tricks lurking in kitchen cupboards nationwide. Which brands put UK cats most at risk, and which rare alternatives are actually safe? Let's reveal the full list, starting with number 12. Perfect Fit lines. Supermarket shelves with bold promises of health and vitality for British cats. But the reality inside each pouch tells a different story. Despite the wellness slogans, the label reveals only 4% of the meat comes from a named source like chicken. The rest is a blend of meat and animal derivatives, grains, and plant fillers, ingredients that do little to meet the true nutritional needs of an obligate carnivore. Budget pricing keeps Perfect Fit competitive, with pouches often selling for under 30 pence each, but the savings come at the expense of real animal protein. Mars Pet Care, the global giant behind Perfect Fit, pours millions into advertising, but not into improving the recipe. DEFRA's 2026 rules require brands to state the percentage of named protein, yet most budget foods still rely on vague categories and loopholes that keep buyers in the dark. For cats, that means a daily diet built on grain and hype, not the meat they were born to eat. Webbox lines the shelves of Poundland and discount stores with price tags that barely break the 5 pence mark, making it a staple in thousands of British homes. But the real cost is hidden in the ingredients list. Each pouch contains up to 8% sucrose, plain sugar, added not for nutrition, but to keep cats coming back for more. This is nearly double the sugar found in many mainstream brands, and far above what an obligate carnivore should ever consume. To achieve an 18-month shelf life, Webbox relies on high-heat sterilization, a process that destroys delicate proteins and leaves behind a product engineered for storage, not for health. The meat and animal derivatives come from unspecified sources, with no guarantees on species or quality. For cats, the result is a daily dose of empty calories that fuels Britain's growing feline obesity epidemic. The low price might be tempting, but the long-term risks are far more expensive. Morrisons' own brand wet cat food lands on supermarket shelves with the promise of convenience and affordability. But a closer look at the label reveals a troubling lack of consistency. Ingredient lists show cereals and cereal derivatives making up a significant portion, with cornmeal accounting for as much as 22% of some recipes. Batch sampling from 2025 highlights a protein swing between 3% and 5%. Meaning the nutritional value of each pouch can change from week to week. DEFRA enforcement notes from early 2026 point to repeated warnings about transparency, yet shoppers are left guessing about the true quality inside each tin. Unlike premium brands that specify exact meat sources, Morrisons relies on broad categories and shifting formulations to keep costs low. For British cat owners, this unpredictability means a meal that might nourish one day and fall short the next, placing the burden of quality control squarely on the consumer rather than the retailer. Tesco own brand wet cat food reaches nearly every corner of the UK, with 4 distinct sublines promising something for every budget and preference. But beneath the familiar packaging, the ingredient lists reveal a pattern that repeats across the range. Less than 6% named meat, with the rest made up of generic animal derivatives and a complex blend of thickeners. Carrageenan, xanthan gum, and guar gum form the backbone of the jelly and gravy textures, appearing together in most recipes at levels approaching current Food Standards Agency limits. These additives aren't just for texture, they help mask low meat content and stretch each batch further, but they've also raised red flags among veterinary nutritionists for their potential to irritate sensitive feline digestive tracts. Tesco's labels from 2025 and 2026 show little variation, mapping a consistent reliance on these thickeners regardless of price point. For British cat owners, the real risk isn't just in the lack of meat, but in the daily exposure to a cocktail of additives designed for shelf life, not for feline health. Tiger cat food, found only at Asda stores across the UK, stands out for all the wrong reasons. The front of the pouch claims 4% chicken, But the real story is buried in the fine print. Barley and oats make up a staggering 30% of the recipe. 18% barley, 12% oats, turning each meal into a carbohydrate-heavy filler. For a species designed to thrive on animal protein, this cereal load is a nutritional mismatch. Lab tests from 2025 reveal that most tiger varieties contain more carbs than meat, with the bulk of the protein coming from unspecified animal derivatives. This approach keeps costs low, but it comes at a price: a daily diet that can drive weight gain and metabolic issues in British cats. Asda's own audit that year flagged the brand for inconsistent labelling and lack of transparency, but the product remains a budget staple, quietly fueling the UK's feline obesity problem one pouch at a time. Koshida, Lidl's private label wet cat food, has gained a reputation among British shoppers for so-called German quality at a low price. But the reality inside each pouch tells a different story. The ingredient list reveals a heavy reliance on plant proteins: pea isolate at 9% and soy isolate at 6%. Used to bulk up the protein numbers without providing the essential amino acids cats need from animal sources. The actual named meat content is vague, with poultry accounting for just 5%, leaving the bulk of the recipe made up of unspecified animal derivatives and cereals. Lidl's own 2025 dossier shows these plant proteins are far less digestible for cats, who are obligate carnivores and struggle to extract nutrition from non-meat sources. Stock issues are frequent, with limited production runs leading to empty shelves and inconsistent quality. For cat owners seeking transparency and true nutrition, Koshida's formula is a cautionary example of how plant fillers and anonymous ingredients can take priority over real meat, leaving cats with less than they deserve. Vita Cat, Aldi's exclusive wet cat food, stands out for its so-called gourmet mousse and premium branding, but the ingredient list tells a different story. Each pouch contains just 4% of a named meat, often chicken or beef, while the bulk of the recipe relies on animal derivatives and a staggering 12% vegetable oil. This high oil content isn't there to boost nutrition, it's a cheap way to pad out the mousse, giving it a rich texture without adding real protein. At 45 pence for an 85-gram pouch, Vita Cat tempts buyers with words like gourmet, but the nutritional reality is a diet heavy in fats and light on meat. For cats, regular intake of such high oil levels can strain the pancreas and set the stage for metabolic issues over time. The glossy marketing masks a formula that prioritizes shelf appeal and low costs over the true needs of Britain's obligate carnivores. Iams holds a reputation as a global premium cat food, but the details on the label tell a different story for British cats in 2026. Each pouch contains just 32% meat and animal derivatives, with a full 35% coming from animal byproducts, parts left over after prime cuts have been removed. Only 14% of the recipe is barley, used as a cheap filler that adds bulk but little nutrition for obligate carnivores. Despite the sleek packaging and high price tag, Iams relies on heavy processing and chemical preservatives to extend shelf life. Both BHA and BHT, synthetic additives flagged by health authorities, are listed among the ingredients. These compounds are permitted within UK legal limits, but their presence in a so-called premium food raises questions about what owners are really paying for. The contrast between marketing and reality is stark. Iams positions itself as a step above budget brands, yet cuts corners in ways that put British cats at risk with every meal. Go Cat Wet Food fills the shelves of more than 3,500 UK supermarkets, making it one of the most visible choices for British cat owners on a budget. What sets it apart is not the meat content, but the gravy, a thick sweet sauce that makes up nearly half of every pouch. Behind the savoury aroma lies a recipe built on 45% vegetable-based gravy, with 7% dextrose added for sweetness. This is not a treat, but a daily meal for thousands of cats across the country. Ingredient lists reveal a blend of vegetables, cereals, and animal derivatives, with only a small fraction of named meat. A 2025 study on feline obesity in the UK found that brands with added sugars and high-carb gravies were strongly associated with rising rates of overweight and diabetic cats. Go Cat's formula turns every pouch into a calorie bomb, fueling a public health problem that now affects nearly 2/3 of British cats. The scale of its reach magnifies the risk, making it not just a dietary shortcut, but a widespread threat to feline health. Sheba positions itself as a luxury choice, promising British cat owners a taste of indulgence with every pouch. The packaging leans on words like select slices and fine flakes, but the ingredient list tells a less glamorous story. Each 50-gram portion is built on 90% meat and animal derivatives, none of which are named or sourced with any transparency. Instead of clear protein sources, Sheba relies on anonymous blends and a heavy dose of gelatin, making up 5% of the recipe, to achieve that signature, silky texture. Protein levels dip below 3 grams per pouch, far lower than what cats require for muscle maintenance and health. The tiny portion sizes, marketed as a sign of sophistication, actually serve to mask the low nutritional density. Behind the premium price tag and elegant branding, Sheba delivers little more than processed animal leftovers shaped into a gourmet illusion, prioritizing mouthfeel over real nutrition. Gourmet, Purina's luxury line, commands a premium price, often £1.20 per pouch, yet delivers little more than a processed illusion of quality. The packaging highlights mini fillets and delicate textures, but 92% of the meat content is listed only as meat and animal derivatives, with no guarantee of species or source. More troubling is the inclusion of carrageenan at levels approaching 3%, a thickener flagged by the RSPCA and veterinary reviews for its link to gut inflammation and irritable bowel disease in cats. Purina's own 2025 dossier justifies carrageenan as essential for the signature jelly, but veterinary nutritionists warn that repeated exposure can irritate the feline digestive tract, especially in sensitive breeds. Despite the luxury branding and price tag, Gourmet's recipe is built on anonymous proteins and a risky additive, leaving British cats exposed to long-term digestive harm in exchange for shelf appeal and marketing gloss. Whiskas sits at the heart of British cat food culture with its purple pouches filling supermarket aisles from Aberdeen to Penzance. Every year, Mars Pet Care spends over £20 million advertising Whiskas, making it the most recognised brand in the UK. Yet behind the familiar jingle and smiling cats, the recipe tells a different story. Up to 95% of each pouch is made from meat and animal derivatives, anonymous mix that could include any species, any part, with almost no transparency. Only a tiny fraction, usually 4%, is named meat like chicken or beef. The rest is bulked out with thickeners such as xanthan and guar gum, which together can make up around 4% of the jelly. Sold in more than 5,000 outlets nationwide, Whiskas reaches more British cats than any other brand. In the last year alone, veterinary surveillance flagged a 12% rise in urinary tract problems among cats regularly fed on foods heavy in derivatives and artificial additives. The trust built by decades of marketing has come at the expense of real feline health, leaving millions of cats exposed to risks hidden behind a household name. James Wellbeloved stands out as a mainstream option that finally puts real feline nutrition first. Each pouch lists 68% chicken as the main ingredient, setting a new standard for meat content in everyday wet cat food. The recipe is entirely grain-free, replacing the cereal fillers found in budget brands with animal protein cats actually need. British Veterinary Association. Guidance from 2025 highlights James Wellbeloved's hyperallergic formulation as a safe choice for sensitive cats, with no artificial colours, flavours, or preservatives. The brand's commitment to transparency is clear. Every ingredient is named, and the protein source is always specified. Available at Tesco, Pets at Home, and many independent retailers, it's accessible without the premium price tag, averaging £1.10 for an 85-gram pouch. For cat owners ready to move beyond the risks of cheap fillers and anonymous derivatives, James Wellbeloved offers an affordable upgrade path that prioritizes real meat and genuine feline health. Lily's Kitchen stands apart in the crowded UK market, not just for its ingredient list, but for its commitment to transparency and ethics. Each 85-gram tin features 72% real chicken breast, paired with 8% turkey, sourced from British farms that meet strict animal welfare standards. There are no anonymous derivatives, no cereals, and no hidden plant fillers, just named cuts of meat that cats are biologically designed to eat. The brand's 2025 sustainability report details a supply chain that prioritizes local sourcing and minimizes food miles, while every tin is made from recyclable aluminium, reducing environmental impact with every purchase. Even the packaging reflects this ethos, using vegetable inks and recycled paperboard. At £1.45 per tin, Lily's Kitchen commands a higher price, but the value is clear. Real, traceable meat, minimal processing, and a documented commitment to feline health and sustainability. For British cat owners seeking more than marketing slogans, this is a brand that raises the ethical bar. Blink offers something rare in the world of UK wet cat food, a recipe built on transparency and real animal protein, designed for the modern British household. Each pouch lists 45% rabbit and 15% chicken, a level of named meat content that puts most supermarket brands to shame. Blink's grain-free recipes cater to cats with dietary sensitivities, and the brand's commitment to clear sourcing means owners know exactly what's going into every meal. In 2026, Blink's subscription model has seen a 20% surge in sign-ups, with households across Britain taking advantage of a 15% discount for regular deliveries. Fresh Lock pouch technology, protected by a 2025 patent, keeps food fresher for longer without the need for harsh preservatives. This approach combines convenience with genuine nutrition, making Blink a standout choice for busy cat owners who refuse to compromise on quality. While the meat percentage is slightly lower than the very top brand, Blink's innovation and integrity set a new standard for safe, trustworthy feeding. Scrumbles sits at the top of the list, setting a new standard for what British cat food can be. Each pouch delivers 70% chicken thigh and 5% duck, with just 1% sugar, far lower than most supermarket brands. Every ingredient is named and traceable, reflecting a commitment to real nutrition over marketing spin. Scrumbles is B Corp certified, with a 2025 audit confirming its ethical sourcing and sustainability practices. The packaging is fully recyclable, and recipes are crafted by veterinary nutritionists at the Royal Veterinary College. Unlike the brands that fill shelves with anonymous derivatives and empty promises, Scrumbles offers real meat, minimal processing, and transparency at every step. For British cat owners seeking the best for their pets, Scrumbles stands as proof that nutrition and ethics can go hand in hand, making it the safest, most responsible choice in 2026. Across all 12 brands, one pattern stands out. UK supermarket wet cat food in 2026 is built for shelf life and profit, not feline health. Fillers, anonymous meats, and flashy marketing routinely mask what's really in the bowl. For millions of British cats, the real risk isn't the label, it's what's left unspoken. Choose ingredients, not advertising. Which brand shocked you most? Drop your thoughts below.